Iran, a nation with a civilization stretching back thousands of years, holds a unique place in the modern world through its geopolitical influence, strategic location, natural resources, cultural legacy, and resilient population. The power of Iran does not simply lie in its military strength or political alliances, but in the multifaceted layers that define its role on the global stage. Located at the crossroads of the Middle East and Central Asia, Iran commands a critical geographical position. It shares borders with key countries like Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Turkey, and the Persian Gulf states. Control over the Strait of Hormuz, through which nearly a fifth of the world's oil passes, gives Iran leverage that very few other nations possess. This choke point remains one of the most strategically important maritime routes in the world, giving Iran potential influence over global energy markets. Beyond geography, Iran's power is deeply rooted in its vast energy reserves, and then holding the world's second largest natural gas reserves and the fourth largest proven oil reserves. Iran is a significant player in the global energy economy. Despite sanctions and limitations on exports, the sheer size of its reserves gives Iran long-term influence in energy policy and international economic considerations. The ability to potentially shape global oil prices or form energy alliances, especially with countries like China, Russia, or Venezuela, underscores Iran's enduring power even in the face of external pressures. Militarily, Iran has built an indigenous defense industry capable of producing missiles, drones, and various military technologies. Its strategic doctrine does not focus solely on traditional warfare, but incorporates asymmetric warfare through proxies and regional alliances. Groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon and various Shia militias across Iraq, Syria, and Yemen reflect Iran's broader regional influence. This ability to project power indirectly has allowed Tehran to establish itself as a critical player in many Middle Eastern conflicts. While some countries rely on direct military engagement, Iran has mastered the art of influence and deterrence through soft and hybrid power. Politically, Iran is a nation that operates under a unique system combining theocratic governance with elements of democracy. Its internal political debates are often misunderstood by outsiders who see the country as monolithic. In reality, Iran has active political factions, debates, elections, and reforms, even if these exist within a constrained framework. The nation's political endurance, especially post-1979 revolution, is a testament to its internal cohesion and the ability of its system to adapt and survive despite decades of isolation, sanctions, and pressure from global powers. This adaptability has allowed Iran to sustain its identity and resist foreign influence in a region where many governments have fallen or changed under external pressure. Iran's cultural power is equally significant. With a rich history that includes poets like Rumi and Hafez, contributions to mathematics, medicine, astronomy, and architecture, and a proud legacy of Persian civilization, Iran commands respect in the realm of culture and knowledge. Its film industry, literature, and artistic expression remain influential despite restrictions. Iranian identity has been shaped by centuries of intellectual growth, resilience, and spiritual depth, attributes that are admired even beyond its borders. In an age of globalization, cultural soft power can be just as potent as military might, and Iran has mastered both. Finally, the resilience of the Iranian people is perhaps the most powerful element of all. Through wars, economic hardship, political repression, and international isolation, the people of Iran have shown remarkable perseverance. They are educated, politically aware, and deeply connected to their heritage. Youth movements, civil society efforts, and artistic expression continue to rise, reflecting the country's inner strength. Iran's power, therefore, is not confined to any one domain. It is a combination of strategic geography, resource wealth, military doctrine, political resilience, cultural richness, and a fiercely proud population that refuses to be defined by others. That is the true power of Iran. Iran's strategic geographic location has been one of its greatest sources of power throughout history. Situated at the crossroads of the Middle East, Central Asia, and South Asia, Iran enjoys a position that few other nations possess. This location grants it not only regional influence, but also global relevance, especially when it comes to trade, energy transit, and military strategy. At the heart of this significance lies the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow passage between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. This waterway is among the most critical maritime choke points in the world. Every day, millions of barrels of oil pass through it, accounting for nearly 20% of the world's petroleum consumption. Any threat of closure or disruption to this strait instantly sends shockwaves through global markets, driving up oil prices and prompting international diplomatic responses. Iran's control over this strait means that it holds a kind of silent veto over the global energy economy, even if it rarely exercises this power directly. In times of political tension, Iran has used its position as a form of deterrence. For example, during heightened hostilities with the United States, or in response to sanctions, Iranian officials have occasionally hinted at or threatened to block the Strait of Hormuz. These statements, even if not acted upon, are enough to create uncertainty and demonstrate Iran's capability to influence the world economy without launching a single missile. The mere possibility that shipping lanes could be affected by Iranian action forces global powers to calculate their strategies more cautiously. Iran's geography also gives it extensive land borders with several influential or unstable nations, including Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Turkey. This proximity allows Iran to exert influence across various regions, whether by fostering economic ties, engaging in diplomacy, or supporting allies and proxies. Its border with Iraq, for example, has allowed it to play a dominant role in post-Saddam Iraqi politics. Similarly, its close connection to Afghanistan means that it can influence events there, particularly through its ties to Shia communities and regional security concerns. These border dynamics extend Iran's reach without the need for overseas military bases, unlike other powers such as the United States. Furthermore, Iran's access to both the Caspian Sea in the north and the Persian Gulf in the south enhances its trade routes and naval capabilities. It acts as a bridge for energy pipelines, trade networks, and regional infrastructure projects that connect Asia to Europe. Countries like China and Russia view Iran as a critical partner in broader connectivity projects, such as the Belt and Road Initiative. This gives Tehran bargaining power not just in its own neighborhood, but in strategic dialogues far beyond. Another aspect of Iran's geographic strength is its internal diversity of landscapes and natural barriers. With vast mountains like the Zagros and Alborz ranges, deserts like Dasht-i-Kavir, and a mix of fertile valleys, Iran is naturally protected against large-scale invasions. Historically, this made Iran difficult to conquer or fully control, helping it maintain sovereignty and cultural identity even during times of imperial dominance or colonial expansion elsewhere in the region. In summary, Iran's geography is not just a matter of maps or borders. It is a living source of strength that influences military, economic, and diplomatic decisions far beyond its boundaries. The control over vital sea routes, influence over neighboring countries, and connectivity to major trade corridors have positioned Iran as a key player in regional and global politics. Even without the most advanced technology or alliances with superpowers, Iran's location alone guarantees that it will always be a country the world must pay attention to. Iran's vast energy resources are one of the most powerful foundations of its national strength and global influence. The country holds the world's second-largest natural gas reserves and the fourth-largest proven oil reserves, placing it among the top-tier nations in terms of raw energy potential. These resources are not just economic assets. They are strategic tools that shape Iran's foreign policy, international relationships, and its position in the global economy. Even during times of sanctions and international isolation, Iran's energy wealth gives it a form of leverage that few other countries in the region can claim. While other Middle Eastern nations like Saudi Arabia and the UAE have also built energy-based power structures, Iran's approach is different due to its political system, economic model, and long-standing resistance to Western dominance. Natural gas is one of Iran's most underutilized but critical assets. The South Pars gas field, which Iran shares with Qatar, is the largest natural gas field in the world. It holds more than 50% of Iran's total gas reserves. Over the years, despite sanctions that have restricted access to foreign investment and technology, Iran has developed domestic expertise to extract and process this gas. The country has built pipelines and infrastructure to supply neighboring countries such as Turkey, Iraq, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. Gas exports are not only a source of revenue but also a diplomatic tool. For instance, providing gas to Iraq strengthens Iran's influence in Iraqi domestic affairs. It also ensures that regional partners have an economic dependence on Iran, which creates long-term political leverage. Oil, of course, is another major pillar of Iran's energy dominance. With billions of barrels of proven reserves, Iran has traditionally been a major oil exporter, especially to Asian markets like China, India, South Korea, and Japan. Although Western sanctions, particularly from the United States, have severely limited Iran's ability to sell oil openly on the international market, the country has found ways to bypass restrictions. It uses complex networks of intermediaries, ghost ships, and under-the-radar sales to maintain some level of oil exports. China, in particular, continues to import Iranian oil through such channels, making Beijing a critical partner in Iran's energy strategy. These covert sales demonstrate Iran's resilience and creativity in keeping its energy economy alive, even under pressure. In addition to raw exports, Iran is working to develop its refining and petrochemical sector. By converting crude oil and natural gas into higher value products, the country can increase profits and reduce reliance on importing finished goods. The expansion of petrochemical plants across Iran signals a long-term strategy to move up the energy value chain. This is important because it allows Iran to stabilize its economy and generate jobs. Even if raw exports are limited due to sanctions, the more self-sufficient Iran becomes in this regard, the less vulnerable it is to international pressure. Iran's energy reserves also serve as a foundation for its strategic partnerships. Countries that need access to energy, such as China and Russia, are more likely to cooperate with Iran, regardless of Western objections. Energy deals form the basis of deeper economic, military, and political cooperation. For example, Iran's involvement in regional energy corridors, such as the proposed Iran-Pakistan pipeline, or its participation in the Belt and Road Initiative, gives it a voice in projects that reshape global trade routes. The mere presence of these vast resources also acts as a deterrent to external aggression. Any prolonged conflict that disrupts Iran's energy supply could have ripple effects throughout global markets. This means global powers must carefully consider the consequences of military escalation. Thus, Iran's energy wealth is not just about money or fuel. It's a shield, a sword, and a silent force that ensures the nation remains relevant and respected in a competitive, energy-hungry world. Iran's regional military influence is one of the most complex and strategically effective tools it uses to assert power across the Middle East. Unlike conventional military powers that depend heavily on advanced weaponry and foreign bases, Iran has built a hybrid military strategy that blends traditional defense with asymmetric warfare and proxy networks. This approach has allowed Iran to shape political events in neighboring countries, challenge rival powers like the United States, Israel, and Saudi Arabia, and project strength without engaging in direct, large-scale warfare. At the core of this strategy is Iran's ability to build and sustain loyal non-state actors across several countries. These include Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Popular Mobilization Forces in Iraq, Houthi rebels in Yemen, and various militia groups in Syria and even Afghanistan. These organizations are often trained, armed, and financed by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, specifically the elite Quds Force, which is tasked with foreign operations. The impact of this network is profound. In Lebanon, Hezbollah functions as both a political party and a powerful militia. It has become stronger than the Lebanese National Army in many respects and serves Iran's frontline deterrent against Israel. In Iraq, Shia militias trained by Iran have played a decisive role in fighting ISIS, but have also gained political power, influencing the country's internal dynamics and aligning Baghdad closer to Tehran. In Yemen, the Houthis have turned into a major challenge for Saudi Arabia, conducting drone and missile attacks deep into Saudi territory and disrupting regional stability. Through these proxies, Iran extends its reach far beyond its borders, creating a sphere of influence stretching from the Mediterranean Sea to the Arabian Peninsula. Another element of Iran's military influence lies in its missile and drone programs. Over the past 2 decades, Iran has developed an advanced domestic missile capability, including medium-range ballistic missiles that can reach targets across the region. These missiles serve as a deterrent against any foreign attack, particularly from Israel or US bases in the Gulf. In addition, Iran has made significant progress in drone technology, producing various unmanned aerial vehicles, UAV, used for surveillance, reconnaissance, and even precision strikes. These drones have been used in multiple conflicts and are often supplied to Iran's allies and proxies, enabling them to carry out attacks with plausible deniability. Iran's ability to operate in the so-called grey zone, below the threshold of open war, has proven highly effective. By using proxies, cyber capabilities, and regional alliances, Iran can influence events without directly risking full-scale retaliation. This strategy was evident after the US assassination of General Qasem Soleimani in 2020. Iran responded by launching ballistic missiles at US bases in Iraq, demonstrating its ability to strike back, yet carefully avoiding escalation into a broader war. This balance of aggression and restraint is a hallmark of Iran's military doctrine. Furthermore, Iran has built strong relationships with other major powers that support its defense posture. Russia, for instance, has cooperated with Iran in Syria, where both countries back the Assad regime. Iran's coordination with Russia in military operations has enhanced its regional credibility and expanded its influence. China, too, has signed strategic agreements with Iran, including provisions for military cooperation and technology sharing. These alliances further embolden Iran's confidence in asserting itself on the regional stage. In summary, Iran's military influence is not about brute force or overwhelming numbers. It is about strategic depth, long-term planning, and smart use of limited resources. By cultivating loyal proxies, developing indigenous technology, and mastering unconventional warfare, Iran has become one of the most influential military powers in the Middle East. Its approach not only secures its borders, but also gives it a lasting presence in the most volatile and strategic parts of the region. Iran's cultural and historical legacy is one of its most enduring and influential sources of power, shaping not only its own national identity, but also leaving a lasting imprint on the entire world. With a civilization that stretches back more than 2,500 years, Iran, formerly known as Persia, has played a central role in the development of art, science, literature, philosophy, and spirituality. This rich cultural heritage has allowed Iran to project soft power beyond its borders, influencing minds, shaping worldviews, and earning respect even in times when political relations have been strained. The country's contributions to human civilization are vast and varied, and they continue to resonate across continents and generations. In literature, Iran is home to some of the greatest poets the world has ever known. Names like Rumi, Hafez, Sadi, Ferdowsi, and Omar Khayyam are not just national icons, but global literary treasures. Their works have been translated into dozens of languages and continue to inspire readers with their wisdom, beauty, and philosophical depth. Rumi, for instance, is one of the most widely read poets in the West, with his verses quoted in spiritual and academic circles alike. Hafez's poetry, filled with mysticism and human emotion, is a part of daily life in Iran, recited at gatherings, consulted like scripture, and cherished as a national treasure. These poets reflect the depth of Persian thought and its unique blend of spirituality, humanism, and artistic expression. In science and mathematics, Iranian scholars and thinkers were centuries ahead of their time. During the Islamic Golden Age, Persian scientists like Avicenna, Ibn Sina, and Al-Khwarizmi made groundbreaking contributions to medicine, astronomy, and algebra. Avicenna's A Canon of Medicine was a foundational medical text in Europe and the Middle East for over 500 years. These intellectual achievements helped shape the foundations of modern science and medicine, highlighting Iran's historic role as a center of learning and innovation. Even today, Iranian universities continue to produce top-tier engineers, mathematicians, and scientists, many of whom gain recognition globally. Iran's architectural legacy is another testament to its cultural strength. From the intricate tilework of Isfahan's mosques to the majestic ruins of Persepolis, Iranian architecture reflects a deep appreciation for beauty, order, and symbolism. Structures are not just built for function, they are created to evoke spiritual harmony and cultural pride. The Persian garden, with its symmetrical design and flowing water, represents paradise on earth and has influenced garden design around the world, including in India's Mughal Empire and European landscape architecture. Religion and spirituality also form a central part of Iran's cultural identity. As the birthplace of Zoroastrianism, one of the world's oldest monotheistic religions, Iran has a long spiritual tradition that predates Islam. Later, with the arrival of Islam, Iran became the heart of Shia Islam, which has shaped the country's religious practices, rituals, and political structure. Religious festivals, pilgrimages, and sacred literature form an essential part of daily life, giving Iranian society a strong sense of spiritual continuity and unity. In the modern age, Iran's film industry has become an international force. Despite censorship and limitations, Iranian filmmakers like Abbas Kiarostami, Asghar Farhadi, and Majid Maghiti have earned global acclaim for their emotionally powerful, human-centered storytelling. Iranian cinema often explores themes of morality, family, identity, and social justice in subtle and profound ways, proving that cultural expression can thrive even under restrictive conditions. These films have won prestigious awards at Cannes, Berlin, and the Oscars, showing the world that Iranian creativity cannot be silenced. All of these cultural elements, poetry, science, art, religion, and cinema, serve as a powerful form of influence. While political power may rise and fall, cultural power endures, inspiring admiration, dialogue, and understanding. Iran's historical and cultural legacy gives it a deep-rooted strength that no war or sanction can erase. It allows Iran to remain relevant, not just through force or wealth, but through the lasting power of its civilization. The resilience and education of the Iranian people form the backbone of the country's enduring strength. Despite decades of external pressure, economic sanctions, internal challenges, political repression, and even war, the people of Iran have continued to demonstrate a remarkable ability to adapt, survive, and persevere. This resilience is not merely physical or economic, it is intellectual, emotional, and cultural. It reflects a deep-rooted national identity built on centuries of history, a strong connection to faith and tradition, and an unbreakable determination to shape their own future, regardless of external interference. This enduring spirit has allowed Iran to remain a significant force in the region and the world, even when its government has been isolated diplomatically or targeted economically. Iran's population is one of the most educated in the Middle East. The country boasts a high literacy rate, and its universities consistently produce skilled engineers, doctors, scientists, and researchers. Iranian students regularly rank highly in international competitions in fields like mathematics and physics. Despite international sanctions that restrict access to technology, research collaboration, and academic exchange, Iran has managed to build a robust higher education system. This focus on education reflects a cultural value deeply embedded in Iranian society, the pursuit of knowledge. Education is not just a means of economic advancement in Iran, it is considered a moral and intellectual duty. Families invest heavily in the education of their children, and many young Iranians dream of academic excellence both at home and abroad. This educated population has led to a highly aware and politically conscious society. Iranians often engage deeply with social and political issues, both within their own country and globally. Even under restrictions on free speech and media, they find creative ways to express themselves through literature, social media, satire, art, and even underground movements. Civil society in Iran has remained vibrant despite state control. Movements led by students, women, and workers have pushed for greater rights and reforms. Protests, although risky, are not uncommon, and they reflect a population that refuses to be silent in the face of injustice. These social pressures have forced the Iranian government to adapt and respond, proving that the people's voice, while often suppressed, is still powerful. The resilience of the Iranian people is also evident in how they have weathered economic hardship. With decades of US and Western sanctions targeting everything from oil exports to financial systems, Iran's economy has suffered repeated shocks. Yet Iranians have learned to survive and even innovate under pressure. They have built a resistance economy, one that relies more on domestic production, local innovation, and regional trade. Entrepreneurs have turned to technology, agriculture, and small businesses to meet domestic needs and sustain livelihoods. The rise of Iranian startups in areas such as fintech, e-commerce, and software development illustrates the creative capacity of the population, even in a challenging environment. Social and cultural resilience is also deeply embedded in daily life. Iranians maintain strong family structures, rich traditions, and religious practices that provide support and meaning even during difficult times. Hospitality, poetry, music, and community life continue to thrive, offering a sense of normalcy and joy. Women in particular have shown incredible strength. Despite restrictions, Iranian women are highly educated, active in various professions, and central to many reform movements. Their presence in universities, courts, media, and even science labs is a testament to their determination to overcome social barriers. In sum, the resilience and education of the Iranian people are not just admirable traits, they are strategic assets that underpin the country's power. Governments may face external threats and political crises, but a determined, intelligent, and culturally rooted population ensures national survival and influence. Iran's people are not passive subjects of history, they are active agents of change and continuity. Their strength is not just seen in moments of protest or achievement, but in the quiet persistence of everyday life, in the refusal to give up dreams, and in the ability to thrive against the odds.